I would like to welcome our new MD, Trevor Abrams.
Real good to hear you coming back, Trevor. Welcome.
I want to take this opportunity to just congratulate Mr. Trevor Abrams on a well-deserved return to the position of the MD.
Say a very warm welcome to Mr. Trevor Abrams.
I just want to thank Mr. Trevor Abrams for coming back.
On behalf of the provincial management and staff of the Eastern Cape, we'd like to welcome Mr. Trevor Abrams, our Managing Director, back to the program. We're looking forward to a fruitful, progressive, and excellent leadership from you, sir. Welcome back.
Hi, Working on Fire employees and our firefighters. I'm glad to say I'm back in the saddle as the Managing Director of Working on Fire. And I'm sure if we work together, we will in fact take this program to the heights that we have always aspired to. And in fact, in many cases in the past reached. This is an award-winning program. And I think one of the issues that I want to put on the table is that we're going back to our basics, the way we've always done our business, and the kind of achievements that we are very proud of. I'm happy that our video unit is affording an opportunity for me to reach out to all in the WOF family and also to respond to some of the questions which I'm sure many of you have in relation to what's going to be part of this back to basics.
My one question for him would be, when he talks about going back to basics, what does that mean?
One of the big changes that we are reverting back to is what we've always done in the past, where during the fire season, our firefighters work for 7 days a week for 5 months of the fire season. Out of the fire season, our firefighters work for 5 days a week for the remaining 7 months. We are going to be reverting to that, and during those days, our firefighters get paid at the normal daily rate. So that is how we've always done it, and we'll be reverting back to it.
Since the 7-year contract is coming to an end in 2021, what guarantee can you give to us as firefighters that we are going to be under government, or are we going to get another 10?
Monday, the question that you ask about the contract is very valid. The current implementing contract that Working on Fire Pty Limited has is in fact a 7-year contract which ends in March 2021. That does not mean that we have any intention, and government has any intention, of bringing an end to the Working on Fire program. In fact, there's every intention for this program to continue. I think what government would need to decide on into the future exactly where they host the particular program. And that's something that we are engaging with government. But there certainly is a future to the Working on Fire program beyond 2021.
Is it possible that you can review the summary of ministerial determination or possible substitute with the Basic Conditions of Employment Act or the minimum wage?
Abello, you know, there are decisions that ministers make, and you know, there's only one person who can appoint a minister. So I would not want to pretend that I can overrule a minister. The ministerial determination is something that emerged out of NEDLAC. That's the agency where labor, government and business meet around what is essentially a poverty relief program like Working on Fire. So at the moment, those are the governing rules that tell us what we can and what we cannot do. We will have to look at government in terms of where it goes forward with programs like the Working on Fire program, in terms of what we can and cannot do into the future. But I'm afraid, I'm not sure that I can overrule a minister at this stage. I think that would be very dangerous territory.
The first question now that we discussed as a team is that why is WOF failing us concerning the financial issues, our payments?
Emmanuel, I have every intention of doing a trip to see as many bases as I can. You know, it's 200 bases in the country. And within the time that we have available, we're not necessarily going to be able to meet all, but I will be coming to every province and hopefully be able to address all the kind of concerns that our firefighters have, including those kind of questions which relate to the financial issues that you mentioned.
I would like to ask the MD about the deployment. Since from last year we have never had anything. We're still going to get a chance to go outside or not?
Yes, Menkewa, the 2016 deployment to Canada was clearly one of our high points in terms of us doing our work abroad. Of course, it also didn't end very well for us in terms of how we came home, but we've done a lot of work with our Canadian counterparts in setting up the framework for future deployment. Of course, the future deployment to Canada will depend on the fire situation there and where they actually need us, but we are certainly well along the way to repairing our relationship there and setting up a proper government-to-government framework for us to be deployed into the future.
What is the possibility that working on fire can help us as employees for further studies, for example, with bursaries?
Aldred, I think in the past we've had ideas of a scholarship program where we're able to in fact provide the kind of assistance that many of our firefighters would like to see. I think one of the initiatives I am going to try and revive is precisely to try and raise funds for such initiatives where people can in fact pursue studies that will assist them in getting better employment out in the formal economy.
My question to Mr. Trevor is that I would like to know how we will come with the developments in terms of upgrading the store persons.
Mzwakhe, I think our store people have been exposed to quite a bit of training in the past. I think part of our way going forward, we would want to look at the kind of training that will enhance them going into the future. I think part of this program, the Working on Fire program, is in fact impart skills to all our participants. So clearly that's something we'll be keeping in mind and I will be looking at. I have to catch up, of course, in terms of all the things that have happened in my absence. And, once we've done that assessment, we'll be able to determine our best to go forward around training, even for our storekeepers.
My question to you is, will there be any update on the BBE portfolio?
My course, and to all the other trustees who form part of the BBE Employee Trust, I think there are big developments coming our way. In the Kishugu company, we've made certain decisions that we're going to ensure that people do get some dividends paid on a regular basis. And of course, the trustees, those who are elected to represent each of our provinces, will be meeting soon, and you'll be responsible for taking that message to all those who are the beneficiaries of this trust. So I think there's some very interesting, exciting developments coming your way, and I think it's up to those trusts, when they meet, those trustees to in fact formulate their responses and make sure that all our beneficiaries who are part of their trustees do get that message.
I'd like to know from the MD, what is your vision in terms of health and safety for Working on Fire?
Kosinati, I think you raise a very valid point there. I think as part of our back to basics is that as though Working on Fire is quite a dangerous program, we've had fairly good track records in terms of our safety. It's absolutely essential that we not only maintain, but we even improve our safety record. So safety is a non-negotiable aspect of the Working on Fire program. It's going to be put firmly on the radar, and I think we're going to see if we can improve. Right now, we've already recognized certain bases that have had 3 years of no lost time. Those who've had 2 years of no lost time, and also we're going to be issuing certificates for those bases which have had 1 year of no lost time. So we're in fact going to incentivize and going to recognize those bases which have come up with the kind of safety records that we as a program would like to be proud of.
What are you bringing on board? Because we are expecting life, not life that will end tomorrow, but for the bigger future. So we expect something new from you that is going to take the teams to the next level regarding our future, not something that will be like fire season, something that you are used to. Bring something new on board. We want to know your objectives about this company.
Vuyani, I think your comments are very apt. Okay, when you build a house, you'll know that if you lay your foundations, you've got a very good chance of building a good house. Now, when I left, I firmly believed that we had the foundations of a solid program. We had the foundations in which we could build something higher, bigger, and better. Right? Now, unfortunately, there have been various developments, and we can't say it's simply one person, but it didn't in fact realize our dreams in terms of what we're putting on our foundation. And some things have not in fact turned out as the way we wanted it to be. So what I'm promising to do is in fact go back to our foundation, make sure that we have solid processes, solid ways of doing business, back to the way we used to do it, so we can actually build on it. Where we can go to, the sky is the limit. I mean, one of the areas that we're going to be looking is career pathing. We cannot have our firefighters simply remaining firefighters. We're going to look at what kind of opportunities are there within the program for firefighters to become part of management. I think at the moment 193 of our current 385 managers are former firefighters. So we've got quite a proud record on that front. We've got a lot of our firefighters have gone into formal employment, be it in the South African Police Service, in the Defence Force, in the conservation agencies, in municipalities, in fire services. But we want to do a much more active project in terms of affording people to get into regular employment so that you can actually use your experience in the Working on Fire program as a footstep to greater and better things for all our firefighters.
Are we going to get medical aid and provident fund or retirement fund?
Okay, my message to management is, as we go back to our Back to Basic program, is that we must understand that this is a program which is directed at providing poverty relief to our unemployed youth. Management obviously cannot be contracted at those rates in terms of the expertise, skills and training that we require to them to have. However, this is not a corporate entity. We cannot have the kind of structures that a corporate remuneration structure might have that Working on Fire management would need to have.
Welcome back, my friend. You were there, you were the best. Sanity prevails, but you are here. We are looking forward working with you again.
To our partners, I'm very glad to be back. I do look forward to working with you in terms of taking this program forward. I'm sure there have been a few missteps in the recent past, but I think we've got a relationship that we can build on and still take us into the future. And I will be coming around to listen to the kind of advice, the kind of concerns that you have in terms of mapping way for this program. So our partners is an absolute essential part of this program. So I will be speaking to you, I will be listening to you. And I'm sure, as we have in the past, map out a way which is in fact something that we both can work on to try and take this program to new heights. I've come back here with a very explicit mandate to ensure that we repair whatever has gone wrong with the program, but also to take it to new levels. I don't think we can aspire to all kinds of new ideas unless we get our basics right. And that's why we're in fact referring to embarking on a back to basics. There's a number of aspects that we need to tighten up, get back. And then critical elements are essentially the discipline and respect that we had in this program. Discipline from all, discipline from our firefighters, discipline from our management, respect to our firefighters and respect from our firefighters, and respect amongst our management as well. I think I want to give one clear message. Treat every and any person in the WOF program as you would want to be treated yourself. And I think that will go a long way to setting us. Where we can go to, once we get our basics right, I think there are no limits to where we can take this program.